What's up, my freaky fricks? I'm Hot Topic. I'm ready for a new YouTube video. Yeah! That was terrible take. A terrible take. Better take. What's up? My name is Hot Topic, and welcome to another YouTube video. YouTube video, motherfuckers. It's the f***ing video. It's the f***ing video. Welcome to my motherfucking video. Welcome to my motherfucking video. Let's bull around. You can see my box. What a lovely box. Look at that lovely box. But do you want to know what's inside the box? Would you like to know? Only if I get 10 million subscribers. Then you can see the box. Then you can see the box. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, you're not gonna see the box. I'm not gonna fucking do it. I need to be professional, and also I'm very white. Like, I'm already white, but like, this is too much white. But this kind of works. You know, I can use color correction. You know, this I can edit, do everything in post, like not AI, nah. They AI generate everything nowadays. People are so lazy nowadays.
And now, I present you a list of RPG Maker games I made, but with no context. Sam should go back to bed, holy sh**. Stardew Valley. Ooh la la. And the game froze, great. What the f***?
You know, one of those days. Why did I make RPG Maker games? Well, I always wanted to, like, make my own games as a kid, and, like, despite having access to the internet in my life. How that ended up. I never really learned how to properly program, though, or use a proper game engine. I always just end up using, like, website builders, make fan websites of, like, Club Penguin and random stuff, because I was obsessed with Club Penguin. Don't abbreviate it, please.
Please, no. I just made like dumb random stuff on websites. That's how I usually kind of got my creative itch as a kid. And I like made dumb YouTube videos, you know, and then the high school rolls around and 21 Pilots, edgy Reddit bullshit. No one likes me. I watched Angry Video Game Nerds' Earthbound video back in 2018, and that got me back into that state of like a dumb creative mindset, you know, just making things without any judgment, be quirky, be so unique, you know, wow. Also make people cry, because it's one of my big dreams to make a lot of people cry for some reason. I think I like to be a dick, I guess. Back to making games on YouTube? No, as I said, I went back to making game home by myself. No art skills, no music skills, no programming skills. Perfect! And I thought to myself, I need to make a super amazing RPG Maker game that will be my legacy and change the gaming landscape and be super innovative. And yeah, of course I failed. What did you expect? Oh my god. I ended up trying to make a whole game by myself, and obviously that's almost impossible. I mean, usually the people who do it, they are like, I don't want to say the word super talented. I mean, usually you have to be disciplined in many different areas, and you have to like stick to one big project, and you definitely want to have that foundation of like, you know, you have some programming knowledge, some music knowledge already, and you don't want to putting all that pressure on you of like just this one project that you want to do. That is like way too much, you know. Still had the idea of wanting to have an old game by myself, maybe something like Undertale or something, but I think that's a bit of a stereotype. I want to make a quirky RPG that has hints of depression or sad, the big sad, you know. Oh, I'm sad. Oh, I'm sad. And I feel like that can also be just like a misstep to game development, I think. I think a lot of people fall down this rabbit hole, like they buy RPG Maker or they buy Game Maker and then they try to do this big project. All these skills they have never done before, and then they all do it together at the same time, and they get overwhelmed. I'm like, oh my god, this is so hard, I'm never gonna do anything again. But that's a lot. If you're making one of those like quirky RPG games, it can get a bit saturated or something, or like you feel like if you don't make this thing, then like you're a failure or something. If we don't succeed, if we don't finish them, then they were in for nothing. I have a bunch of RPG Maker projects that I've never finished. I have like thousands of hours in Steam, never released to anyone. Mostly because obviously all the scope was way huge, and I'll get to that scope creep. At the end of the day, people might not even give a shit about by the time you finish, and you're thinking to yourself, crap, I make all this project and nobody cares. But that's a bit hard, because I think sort of sometimes you fall into the dilemma of like, you need to finish this project because it's your identity, and it's going to be your mark of what you are at the end of your life, your ego. And I feel like that's kind of that's not very good for your mental health. And sometimes you want to get into game development, and you want to build a game first, not your ego. That's probably a thing I just made up right now. I feel like that's a good way to say it. Could probably also be what happened to me. I tried to like build a like purpose or something by trying to make these games, and obviously that's not how it should be done. It's trying to learn Godot a bit. I'm trying to make a Pong clone, but I'm like failing at it, which is okay. That means I'm learning, you know. I'm very learning. Let's go, we're learning. But yeah. Hello, Code Scream, my old friend. I came to talk with you again. Apple bottom jeans are eating. For some reason, I'm pretty sure I'm right, but I think every person experiences like scope creep, imposter syndrome, all that sussy stuff. But still, people spend a lot more of time thinking about these things of making games rather than doing it. As humans tend to be, you have a better think of like just thinking ideas and experiments. The times comes to actually try and make those ideas a reality. We never actually spend the time learning those skills. Then people come into the picture and they look at your work. They think this is what your big idea was, this piece of project. And you go like, what the is this? And I'm going, I don't know either. I don't know why I made that. I was like, that's not what I expected to think of. That's like nothing like that. Oh my god. Usually most people quit at this stage, but then you have to try pretend that like this is the Elder Scrolls Online where you're the chosen one, and you have to keep going. Maybe you don't like it, haha, la, no. You gotta keep going. You gotta be an artist. You gotta hurt yourself. You gotta be creative. You know, very fun, very fun. Been trying to figure out what is that one thing I can specialize in the rest of my life. And that's a very big decision, you know. I think everyone knows that. I want to get out of this headspace of constantly starting and stopping different things and just stick with one thing. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing because I really want to, what's the word? Make myself depressed. I don't know. I love to be a journalist. I do want to maybe specialize in something. I know I like music. I like art. I like programming a little bit. So I mean, I guess maybe it should be an indie game dev. I don't know. But sometimes just have an idea of something and just leave it like that. Don't keep on surveying people what you want to do with your life because you're spending the rest of your life figuring that out. So you should just think of an idea, one plan, live for the moment, and then, you know, just plan change. Who cares? You just do it, and you go, and you end up going there, and you're just wasting all your time thinking, you know. Just hate the fact it's just thinking of what to do instead of just doing it, you know. It could be just anxiety or just like talking whenever I do a task, I'm just asked to do something even better, or I should be doing more of this, or I should have done more, or Googling universities, or blah blah blah, getting sidetracked, you know. Get a degree or something like that, because I'm, you know, probably normal stuff, you know, normal young adult stuff. One of these projects I've got is, yeah, that works. Little Finch guy. I give an idea of like just making it this RPG Maker game, and I did have a concept in my head where I had like technically do if I put my mind to it, but definitely I don't know, like scope creep or something. I've been kind of wanting to like expand my learning horizons, and just because I'm gonna get really tired of doing RPG Maker for years, I really want to learn a new engine. But there is this one little project game I had of Finch on there. I did make a simplified version. Luckily, that's lowering the scope creep, which is good. And it's basically I got sort of this flying mechanic of where it's like a maze. It's a puzzle game, and you just fly. You have a limited time of how you fly, but you earn wings to fly around the place, whatever the you want to call it. Wanting to add on top of it is the battle system, RPG Maker battle, but the fun part of it is having that flying system in there where you just also earn flying points through battles, and you start like building. So basically I'm just building on different concepts, and that's kind of a bit of scope creep. Like if you try to make a level, you're doing all of that at the same time, then obviously that's going to be too much. So usually you do have to focus on like making this one part of a game, simple game work, have a couple levels, start to end, done, and then build on top of it. And as I said, I don't know if I want to keep working on it. I don't know. I have to see if that's just me just changing around, you know. So, in my script, I said I wanted to rebuild this in C++. Jesus Christ. Could be just shiny object syndrome, you know. But I do kind of like learning a bit of new, like, you know, doing Pong bullshit, you know. Very nice. And motivation can be very, very difficult. I did try doing some habit trackers, you know, all that jazz, you know. I did definitely kind of fell off a bit. I have so many things I want to do, like better guitar, piano, my math skills, all this jazz. Obviously, all these things in one day, too much pressure on myself or overwhelming. Or if I just need to suck it up, maybe. I remember as well when I made these games, one of the reasons I was starting this YouTube channel again is definitely for many times I made RPG Maker games. Years back, I was just scared of telling people what I'm doing because I wanted to be like, ooh, it's like a secret project. I don't want to spoil it. I want to be a surprise. JayTheDevGuy on YouTube, you know, he makes a great example. If you isolating yourself in the creative process, it kind of kills the art, you know. A lot of reasons you want to make the art is, apart from having fun, is to communicate with people. And if you're not letting yourself communicate with people, you're going to start letting yourself feeling your art is worthless and nobody cares, which leads to burnout and quitting all your dreams, you know, all the good stuff. Why did I find this so important? You know, I guess from the outer surface it'd just be neat, you know, a sort of art piece. You have all these different things that I like, and you can all play and interact, and it's really fun. Thanks just to certain joy in making something that requires so many skill sets. Like, it just motivates me. It's like a whole orchestra of certain talents all together. You know, it's such an interesting medium that impacts a lot of people around the world. You know, impacting people in the world, that making them having a good time. Such a fun concept. It feels so hard just to not follow it, don't you think? So I don't think I really explained what the mechanic, but basically, you know, you're Finch, you walk into the water, you die, sort of. You just teleport back at the start of the level. I'm not gonna be that brutal, okay? I'm not gonna like show a death animation and you just but when you press shift, you know, you get to fly over the water, but if you just fly all the time, there's anything like that, you know, there's not, what's the point, you know, nothing really fun about it, but how can I make it fun and interesting?
Limitation rules the whole definition of a f***ing game.
But yeah, the only player gets a limit on how much time they get to fly, which I call flight points, or FP for short. Gameplay felt quite fun when I tried testing it out, because then there's so many times of like where you're just failing, and it's so much fun failing, you know, I love failing. Start over, so there's a huge risk of like, you know, if you mess up, you gotta have to do it all over again, so it kind of makes you want to think. Your puzzle, fix the puzzle, and you know, think of how many flight points you have, you know. Memorization game, I think that's a better way to put at it. You know, once the bells and whistles are combined to the game and integrated with the flying mechanic, like the RPG battles I was talking about, where you get flying points from fighting enemies, the project will start to become even more interesting. But only one issue is that obviously, you know, the scope creep, you know, and been using Maker 2003 for so long, been wanting to switch to a new engine, but you know, maybe it might be more time, but you know, some people call that skill creep. I don't know. But yeah, one of those days. But yeah, one of my issue with motivations is like, it's nothing new. You know, you do the same thing and it's just repetitive, and you know, it's nothing like, you need to figure out like what you're aiming towards. But I'm gonna maybe try to make a goal and finish these levels at some point. I don't know. Finish a prototype, get to make more fun stuff, make music, refine more art, make the task feel easier to complete by making all of the world's files for the rest of the 10 levels I want immediately, and making blank stages where the player just enter and exit levels so I can think I'm doing more work, it's nearly done, trick my brain into actually working, and then knowing a task that I have for an RPG Maker that might be a bit more simpler in other engines, or maybe not, maybe the engine might break more, I don't know, but annoying task is having to manually place all these trigger events on every single part of the world to trigger a death. And I tried to see if there was a workaround where if the player is on the water terrain and it gets poisoned, I can use the RPG Maker thingy to like terrain to say, oh, it gets poisoned, then it has poison on there, then restart, but it actually just minuses the health and I can't really do anything about that. So yeah, even if I tried to do it, it would just like mess up the whole game anyway. So yeah, this would be much more simple to do in a different game engine, obviously, but then it'll require me to start over, maybe even build an RPG battle system in the future, which would take even more time and probably require a second person. I don't know, I'm just a bird. But yeah, that's my video, that's my devlog, I guess what you can call it. Have a good rest of your day, guys. I'll see you guys later.
Look at this. This came in this and everything went bad. This